The Chinese government denounced Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan as a violation of its territorial sovereignty. Beijing accuses the U.S. and Taiwan of political provocations. Brazil's Supreme Electoral Court confirmed that public and private evidence proves the reliability of the voting system used in the nation. And Argentina's Congress accepted Sergio Massa's resignation as its president. Massa takes office this Wednesday as Minister of Economy, Productive Development and Agriculture. Hello, welcome to From the South. I'm Luis Alberto Matos from the teleSUR studios in Havana, Cuba. We begin with the news. The government of China denounced Nancy Pelosi's visit as a violation of its territorial sovereignty and accused the United States and Taiwan of carrying out provocations. Chinese Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Hua Chunying said that Beijing has been forced to act in self-defense and any countermeasures taken by China would be a justified and necessary response to Washington's neglect of repeated efforts to maintain stability. The official said the United States should renounce any attempt to play the Taiwan card and strictly abide by the One China principle and the three joint communiques, both in words and deeds, and to the letter. Hundreds of Taiwanese citizens took to the streets to protest against Nancy Pelosi's visit to Taiwan. Local media reported that thousands of Taiwanese organized to stage several demonstrations at various strategic locations where the Speaker of the U.S. House of Representatives is scheduled to hold activities with local authorities. The Taiwan Unification Promotion Party, which led the mobilization, accused the U.S. official of turning Taiwan into a battlefield and pushing the region into a fire pit. Russian Foreign Ministry spokeswoman Maria Zakharova denounced a potential visit by United States House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan as a provocation and expressed Moscow's full solidarity with China.
Today, we have the opportunity to see live how the American provocation is unfolding. We consider the resolution of the situation in the Taiwan Strait as a purely internal Chinese matter. Of course, as an Asia-Pacific state, Russia hopes that the Taiwan issue will be resolved without prejudice to peace and stability in the region. Russia's principal position on the Taiwan issue is unchanged. We proceed from the premise that there is only one China, and the People's Republic of China's government is the only legitimate government representing all of China, and Taiwan is an integral part of China.
Iranian Foreign Ministry officials expressed their rejection to the visit of U.S. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi to Taiwan. The spokesman of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Iran, Nasser Kanani, emphasized that respect for the national sovereignty of countries is one of the basic principles established in the United Nations Charter. Kanani emphasized that the recent provocative behavior of U.S. officials, interference in the affairs of China, and the violation of the territorial integrity of that country are examples of U.S. interference in of different regions and countries of the world, which he said has only led to chaos and fueled differences. He also denounced that unilateral tendencies and the violation of laws and international commitments have become one of the hallmarks of U.S. foreign policy. The Taliban condemned the killing of al-Qaeda leader Ayman al-Zawahiri by the United States in a drone strike in the center of Kabul. In a statement on Tuesday, the group called the strike a clear violation of international principles and the Doha Agreement, the 2020 pact signed by the Taliban and the U.S. that facilitated the withdrawal of international forces from Afghanistan. Taliban chief spokesperson Zabihullah Mujahid said in a statement the strike was carried out on a residential house in the Sherpur area of Kabul, a diplomatic enclave where many Taliban leaders live now. Mujahid also said such actions were a repetition of the failed experiences of the past 20 years and are against the interests of the U.S., Afghanistan, and the region. Due to the drought that is facing the state of Nuevo León, the Mexican Army announced an immediate reinforcement for water transport operations through pipes that run through municipalities in the Monterrey metropolitan area. The city, which is the second largest in the country with 5.3 million inhabitants, faces a severe water shortage due to more than 15 months of low rainfall, a ruptured pipeline, and deficiencies in water management. Much of the urban area has water for a few hours a day, but in the higher areas of the city the pressure is not sufficient and it is necessary to distribute water with tanker trucks, of which 14 were already operating and another 100 were added on August 1st. The municipal services were in charge of covering the affected areas, but as of this Tuesday, the federal government entrusted the task to the Mexican Army.
Starting from today, August the 1st, as the President of the Republic has already ordered, the Secretariat of National Defense is reinforcing the immediate support actions that are being carried out. To this end, 100 more tanks will be added to the 14 that we already had, bringing the total to 114. Today there are 3,330 pipes, and with the help of the Army, another 100 are arriving, and others are being acquired. We're going to ensure 500 pipes for the month of August for all the vulnerable areas that have struggled with the water timetable, thanks to the Army.
Barbarians held a walking to commemorate the season of emancipation and specifically the Emancipation Day. This holiday marked the end of slavery in the Caribbean country in 1834. As part of the season of emancipation, people celebrated the anniversary of Busa's Rebellion, a major slave rebellion in 1816, as well as the International Day for the remembrance of the slave trade and its abolition. Emancipation Day celebrations feature a walk from Independence Square in Bridgetown to the Heritage Village at the Crop Over Bridgetown Market on the Spring Garden Highway. The season of emancipation runs from April 14th to August 23rd. In Ecuador on Monday, President Guillermo Lasso dismissed the executive president of state oil company Petroecuador. The decision comes as the company is being investigated for corruption allegations. Through his social media, the president told the country that he was removing Italo Cedeño from his post and that he would be announcing his replacement in the next few hours. Although the president did not explain the reasons for his decision over the last few days, allegations of corruption, influence peddling, and payroll irregularities have grown recently. The now former executive president of Petroecuador said that he had indeed accepted his wife's influence to hire and dismiss workers during his first month on the job, but he noted that President Guillermo Lasso was aware of the situation. On a positive note, a land iguana that disappeared more than a century ago from one of the Galapagos Islands is reproducing naturally following its reintroduction there, Ecuador's Environment Ministry announced on Monday. The reptile, on one of the 3 land iguanas living on the archipelago, disappeared from Santiago Island in the 20th century, according to a 1903 expedition there by the California Academy of Sciences. In 2019, the Galapagos National Park authorities reintroduced more than 3,000 iguanas from a nearby island to restore the natural ecosystem of Santiago, which lies at the center of the Pacific archipelago. Located close to 1,000 kilometers off the coast of Ecuador, the Galapagos Islands are home to unique flora and fauna and are a natural World Heritage Site. Let us take a short break now. Join us again after this. Welcome back to From the South. Brazil's Supreme Electoral Court confirmed that public and private evidence proves that the reliability of the voting system used in the nation. TSE's President Edson Fachin pointed out that the experiments point to the integrity of the computational electoral system adopted 26 years ago in the country. In the meantime, he detailed that whoever claims not to accept a result different from the victory is not defending the audit of the ballot boxes and of the voting process. In this sense, the president of the electoral body affirmed that the criticisms about the safety of the electronic ballot box issued by President Jair Bolsonaro responds to self-interest. Prior to the statements of the president of Brazil's top electoral body, the president of the Supreme Federal Court, Luis Fux, called for respect among the country's electoral candidates and for the national constitution. Fux recalled that the Magna Carta guarantees freedom of speech but also demands responsibility and respect for the citizens. The declarations of the heads of the Brazilian justice institutions come within the framework of the questioning of the reliability of the electoral system in force in the country made by President and candidate Jair Bolsonaro. Peruvian prosecutors subpoenaed President Pedro Castillo for the alleged crimes of influence trafficking. The prosecutor's office has given the Peruvian president 2 dates to testify, a first statement for the 4th of August and a second one for the case of cover-up, on Tuesday the 9th of the same month, both in the morning hours. The president's lawyer Benji Espinosa said that it has yet to be decided whether the prosecutor Patricia Benavides will go to the president's office or if Castillo will have to testify at the public prosecutor's office. President Pedro Castillo is accused of alleged crimes of influence trafficking, irregular promotions and in the armed forces and obstruction in the capture of fugitive officials. Argentinian ruling party legislator Cecilia Moreau took office on Tuesday as the first woman to head the presidency of the Chamber of Deputies after the resignation of her predecessor Sergio Massa. The new head of the body said she had an additional responsibility for being a woman and acknowledged that she was extra proud to be the first woman in the chamber. The main opposition party, Juntos por el Cambio, abstained from supporting Moreau, a congresswoman from Frente Renovador, a party funded by Massa. The new head of the legislative body has a mandate until December, when the new authorities of the Chamber of Deputies will be elected. In El Salvador, pilgrims make a pilgrimage in honor of Saint Romero of the Americas. The pilgrimage started from the city of San Salvador after an inaugural mass and is scheduled to arrive in the saint's hometown, Ciudad Barrios, in the east of the country. Pilgrims will arrive this Tuesday night to the town of Chapeltique, where they will remain in celebration of the Eucharist with cultural acts. On Wednesday morning, parishioners will undertake a trip to Ciudad Barrios, specifically to Central Park, where they will carry out commemorative acts for the 105th birthday of San Romero's and a mass in his honor. A major summit was held in New York with the aim of putting nuclear non-proliferation back on track as the conflict in Ukraine and escalated tensions between major powers threaten to undo decades of work to prevent the outbreak of a catastrophic nuclear war. The 10th review of the Treaty of the Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons featured representatives from almost every nation, including United States Secretary of State Anthony Blinken, German Foreign Minister Annalena Baerbock, and Japanese Prime Minister Fumio Kishida. Nations attending the conference, which was delayed for more than 2 years by the COVID-19 pandemic, evaluated the treaty's progress and aimed at taking measures with the ultimate goal of achieving a world without nuclear weapons, but that aim looks increasingly far from reality.
Clouds that parted following the end of the Cold War are gathering once more. We have been extraordinarily lucky so far, but luck is not a strategy, nor is it a shield from geopolitical tensions boiling over into nuclear conflict. Today, humanity is just one misunderstanding, one miscalculation away from nuclear annihilation. We need the Treaty of Non-Proliferation of Nuclear Weapons as much as ever.
In his speech, the Secretary General was adamant on the need to eliminate nuclear weapons.
Reduction of the risk of war is not enough. Eliminating nuclear weapons is the only guarantee they will never be used. We must work relentlessly towards this goal. And this must start with new commitments to shrink the numbers of all kinds of nuclear weapons so that they no longer hang by a thread over humanity.
And we have more news coming up after a final short break. Don't go away. Welcome back From the South. Sudan's Transitional Council acknowledged on Tuesday that after a year since the ousting of Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok, they have fallen short in achieving the necessary changes. Mohamed Hamdan Dagalo, leader of the Rapid Support Forces, said that the house arrest of former Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok has only worsened the whole situation in the country amid a wave of protests sweeping across the country. The transitional authorities got imposed following An agreement between the former military junta, which emerged from the 2019 coup, and opposition groups, the resulting government, had made progress in a series of agreements and social and political reforms with rebel groups in Darfur and other areas of the country, which, when interrupted, has brought violence and instability back to the streets. Spanish offices, stores, and hospitality venues will no longer be allowed to set their cooling systems below 27 degrees Celsius in summer, nor raise heating above 19 degrees Celsius in the winter, under a new set of energy-saving measures passed by the government Prime Minister Pedro Sánchez. Shops will also be obliged to keep doors closed, and heating systems must be checked more often to increase efficiency under the new standards. The measures include switching off store windows lights after 10 p.m. Street lighting will not be affected. The government passed the bill as part of a bid to reduce the country's gas consumption by 7%, in line with the recent European Union energy agreements to limit dependency on Russian gas. According to Ecological Transition Minister Teresa Rivera, the measures would initially be maintained until November 2023.
In winter, the heating should be kept at a maximum of 19 degrees Celsius. In summer, at a minimum of 27 degrees Celsius. Teleworking that allows us to concentrate the schedules, the presence, to save in displacements, to save also in the thermal consumption of the buildings. We were able to do this during the pandemic, and since then, we have learned a lot.
The number of people killed in flash floods in the eastern Ugandan city of Mbale has jumped to 22, including a group of partygoers who became trapped in a minibus. Two rivers burst their banks at the weekend after the city was hit by heavy rainfall, leading to mudslides that caused widespread damage and left hundreds of residents homeless. A combined force of police, the army, and the Red Cross continue searching for the missing in the floodwaters that have swallowed up homes, bridges, shops, and roads. Authorities said residents have been advised to relocate to safer areas as the rains continue to lash the city, which lies about 300 kilometers northeast of the capital, Kampala. Heavy rain was expected to produce more flooding across already saturated eastern Kentucky in the United States after flash floods in the area killed at least 37 people and left dozens missing. Heavy rainfall since last week has soaked the soil and made it unable to absorb more. The flooding has caused mudslides and filled up streams, creeks, and rivers to overflowing. Bridges have collapsed, isolating communities, and houses have been torn from their foundations. Kentucky Governor Andy Beshear said the death toll will continue to rise as hundreds remain unaccounted for while search and rescue operations continue. More than 12,000 households remain without power and hundreds of businesses have been flooded. The Federal Emergency Management Agency confirmed that 37 people were missing. And teleSUR English continues to grow. Its signal now reaches Europe. You can order from your cable dealer or tune it yourself. These parameters that you see on screen are in place since July 1st, and quite soon further changes will be implemented for the signals in the Middle East and Africa. Now more than ever, the world connects to us and our stories are heard in other faraway nations. This news multi-platform will continue providing truthful content to oppose the hegemonic media's narrative and unfaithfulness to our audience. And we have come to the end of this news brief. Remember, you can find these and many other stories on our website at telesurenglish.net. You can also join us on social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and Telegram. For teleSUR English, I'm Luis Alberto Matos. Thank you for watching.